Welcome athletes to the Superfly Coaching Ironman plan with 0 days off a week. Now this is for advanced athletes that probably have quite a bit of experience in triathlon and really like to do something every day and are looking for the best way to make use of their time and do the right things each day. There's a couple options, and one of the things that I'm going to try to do is I take you through these weeks is to give you the options that you have and kind of explain to you some of the things that we're thinking of and ways that I would suggest modifying if you do in fact need to modify. Now, we have stuff for you to do every single day, but there's a couple of things that you can do to switch stuff out and move things around. I just want you to be smart about how you do it, all right? First things that we'll start about is, if you're not sure of your zones, check out our site where we have an information about how to know your zones and what to do about that. If you're not sure how to implement the zones that you currently have, go to your settings tab and make sure to put the settings in there, and it will take care of all the zone settings for you. The other thing that I'll say is that if you are not sure if your zones are accurate or you really don't know what your zones are right now, just go with rate of perceived exertion really quick. Zone 1 is active recovery. You could do it all day. Zone 2 is kind of like that talk test where you could do it for hours. It's got your attention, but it's really, you could do it for hours and hours and hours. Zone 3 is something you could probably do for 3 or 4 hours. And zone 4 is something you could do for a couple hours or less, depending on where in zone 4 you are. The top end of zone 4, the hardest to go in zone 4, is kind of like your hour effort, or you're right up against your FTP or your threshold. And then zone 5, we'll just kind of say zone 5, even though there's a couple of variables in zone 5, are things that you can pretty much do for 30 minutes or less. And I will say this, zone 5B is something you can do for about 6 minutes. And okay, fine. Zone 5C is something you can do for 1 minute. So you can use those rated perceived exertions. We will test in a few weeks in this program, so you can check in on your numbers and make sure that you are using the ones that you currently should be using. Now, let's get back to business and the fun part of the training plan. You can sub out any swims. I really think that there are so many ways to get in great quality swims. These are just suggestions. If you are part of a master's program, or if you are lucky enough to have a coach on deck help you, listen to them. They know you better. That's fine. You can also switch out the days that you swim. It's a non-weight bearing sport, so you're really not going to hurt anything by moving things around or risk yourself with injury. Now, the other thing to note is, as you get into this, if you want, you can switch the long run with the Wednesday workouts. Not only can you switch the long run with the Wednesday workouts, but you can switch the weekend days around as well too. So you have 3 variable components there. You can switch the weekend days around, and or you can also switch out the long run with Wednesday, and you should be able to feel just fine. We have tried to create so many ways for you to get in touch with us. If you have any issues or stumbling blocks, we have Facebook groups and membership areas and website emails. Just reach out if you're stuck or you're having an issue. And the last thing that I'll say as we get into week 1, because I find a lot of times you almost have to do a week to understand what questions you will have, is if you have a strength program that you're currently using, great, use it, okay? And if you have a strength coach, go ahead and use that too. Again, we do have strength coaching available to you for, in the membership areas are super cheap. And so if you are totally lost on what you should be doing with your strength, we have opportunities for you to get that information as well too. So I'm really excited that you're here. If you are stuck on anything, just reach out and ask. And again, I'll pop up in your feed every week, just kind of letting you know what I'm thinking for each week and making sure we're going to get the job done. Finally, and this goes without saying, this assumes you come into this plan with a certain level of fitness. So if you feel like you aren't currently fit right now, because you'll see you start out this week with a 2.5-hour run, if that's a big step up from what you've been doing right now, maybe cut it in between what you've been doing and where you are, and bring yourself up to this program over a couple of weeks. If you haven't run up to 1 hour and 45 or 2 minutes in the recent past history, like in the last month or two, I would really either cut back on the long runs or strongly encourage adding walking. So you front load the runs and then do maybe the second half walking. If you walk at a 12% incline and you think about tucking your butt and standing up super tall, it'll actually put you into a perfect running posture, and your heart rate, I promise you, if you try it, will get higher than your long run pace most of the time. Especially, I used to walk, I used to shoot for like a 3:15 to 3 hour marathon. And so I would try to do my walks as something you can relate to 3.5 miles to 4 miles an hour. And oftentimes my heart rate was much higher than when I would do my long run pace. And there was no risk of injury, and it forces you to use your back line, and it makes it so that you have good running posture. So you can walk, or you can have walk breaks. So you could do a 5-minute run, 1-minute walk, or 4-1, or 9-1, or even 14-1. And don't be afraid of walking, because it's not about going fast in the beginning of the run. It's about not slowing down later in the run. And I keep saying last thing, but we have a lot to cover in week 1, which is why I'll start introducing this stuff week to week. If you plan on walking in your race, and even advanced athletes will sometimes plan on that, practice your run, okay? Or practice your walk, because if you don't practice your walk, you can actually become inefficient at walking. And it's 65% different than running, which is kind of crazy, but you will be sore like you won't believe during your walk run in your race if you don't practice your run. And I have been there. I've had to walk an Ironman before, and I've been passed by people who clearly practice walking, and you can take minutes per mile off if you know how to walk effectively. So practice it, and I will see everybody next week.